There is one invisible force that has quietly stolen more dreams, silenced more voices, and killed more potential than failure ever could. And you have felt it. You already know what it is. That tightening in your chest before you send the message, the rehearsed speech that never leaves your mouth, the opportunity you watch walk past you while you stood frozen, telling yourself the time wasn't right. Today, you're going to understand exactly why that happens, what it is truly costing you, and more importantly, how to walk through it with the kind of clarity and resolve that changes everything. But first, there is something about rejection you have never been told. Something that reframes the entire experience. Stay with me until the end, because that one idea alone will shift how you move through the world forever. Most people believe the fear of rejection is about the rejection itself. They think it is about the no, the silence, the turn back, the cold response, but that is not what the fear is really about. What you're actually afraid of is what rejection seems to confirm, that you are not enough. That the version of you that showed up, reached out, or spoke up was seen and found lacking. That is the wound underneath the hesitation. Not the event, but the verdict. And once you understand that, everything changes because now you are fighting the right battle. Think about the last time you held back. You had something to say, something to approach, a risk to take, and something stopped you. You told yourself a story, not the right moment, not ready yet, maybe later. But what was really happening was a negotiation between your desire and your fear of what a negative response would mean about your worth. That negotiation has been happening inside you for years. And in most cases, fear has been winning. Here's what nobody talks about. The fear of rejection doesn't protect you from pain. It guarantees it. Every time you retreat before taking the risk, you experience a private, quiet rejection from yourself. You reject your own voice. You reject your own instinct. You reject the version of you that was willing to try, and that accumulates over months and years. It builds into a story. That you are someone who watches from the sidelines, someone who could have. That story is far more devastating than any external no you will ever receive. The emotional core of this fear is not cowardice. It is love, a fierce, misplaced love for an image of yourself that you are desperately trying to protect. You are not afraid of what other people think. You are afraid of seeing yourself through their eyes and believing what you see. That is why the fear feels so personal, so sharp, so immediate. It is not social anxiety, it is identity anxiety. And the moment you recognize that distinction, you stop trying to fix your confidence and start doing something far more powerful. You start separating your worth from your outcomes. Determination is not the absence of fear. That is the misunderstanding that keeps people waiting to feel ready before they act. Determination is the decision to move while the fear is still present. It is the choice to let your values outweigh your vulnerabilities. Every person you admire for their boldness, their directness, their willingness to go first, they feel the same tightening, the same hesitation, the same flicker of doubt. The difference is not what they feel, it is what they do with it. There is a specific practice that rewires the way your brain processes rejection. It starts with a psychologist called exposure. Not reckless, indiscriminate risk-taking, but intentional progressive contact with the thing you fear. You do not start by asking for the impossible. You start small and you start now. You send the email, you make the call, you raise your hand. Not because you are certain of the outcome, but because each small act of courage teaches your nervous system that you can survive a no. And once your body learns that, everything changes. The fear doesn't disappear, it just loses its authority over you. What you are really building when you practice this is not thick skin. You are building self-trust. You are proving to yourself one action at a time that you are someone who shows up regardless. That identity, the identity of someone who acts, becomes more powerful than any single outcome. You stop needing approval to move forward because you have become your own source of momentum. Here's the part most people miss entirely. Rejection is directional information, not a final verdict. When someone says no, it tells you something about fit, time, and context. It tells you almost nothing permanent about your value. The most successful people in every field, in business, in relationships, in creative work, are not the ones who were never rejected. They are the ones who reframe rejection as data and kept refining their approach. Every no brought them closer to a yes that actually mattered. They were not lucky, they were relentless. And now, the thing I promised you at the beginning, the idea that reframes rejection entirely, the most dangerous rejection in your life is not the one that comes from outside. It is the one you deliver to yourself every time you stay silent when you should speak. Every time you wait when you should move, every time you shrink when you were built to expand. That is the rejection with the real consequences. That is the one that shapes your life. Every external no is temporary. Every self-imposed no compounds over time. You are not made to live in the margins of your own story. Determination is not a personality trait reserved for certain people. It is a practice available to every single person willing to feel fear and move anyway. The fear of rejection will always be there. It is part of being alive, part of caring, part of wanting things that matter. But from this moment forward, it doesn't have to be the one making your decisions. You do. Act first, evaluate later. Your life is waiting on the other side of the risk you keep not taking.